All right, guys, so I want to talk about something that I wish someone had told me this sooner myself, because I only learned this when I was like 30, 31, 32, and it would have made my 20s so much less painful, and I wouldn't have to resist as much and have so much judgment. And I think for someone out there who was like me in their 20s, I think this will be pretty valuable. So we need to start with the story. So I actually was just upstairs. I do this morning acceptance and gratitude practice. So I have a couple prompts, and I'll take out the journal app on my phone, and I actually just use the iPhone journal app now. I was paying for day one, but I'm like, dude,
why am I paying $3-4 a month when I can just use the free journal app on my phone?
So I use that, and I have this this AI dictation software, which is better than regular dictation because I don't want to even have to text it out, because that's now the rate limiting step, is the texting. Even though we can most of us can type a lot faster than we can text. And so I just use this dictation software, which I'll link down below. I actually got a lot of my team on it too. It's a really awesome software. So I just talked to my phone for like 10-15 minutes, and some interesting things came up, and I want to tell you those learnings. So let me tell you what happened this last weekend. On Saturday, I flew down to LA, was hanging out with Mike and Maddie. I think if you're watching this channel, you're probably aware of them. They're two brothers that also left medicine. They do YouTube, and they have awesome channels. You can check them out, linked below. And I flew in during the afternoon, picked up the car, drove immediately to their studio, did like a 2-hour podcast. And then after getting dinner with them, rushed to the hotel, go to sleep, boom. And then on Sunday morning, I'm doing car reviews all day. And the car reviews probably leave the hotel at like 7 a.m. and I finish at like 4 p.m. So it's a full day thing. And for those who don't know, I have this car review channel. I'm really into cars, as you can tell. And it's at Jabal and Cars on YouTube, on Instagram. And I was feeling both grateful and also kind of like an idiot. So let me explain. There are a few different things that came up. So number one is that a lot of us feel like we should be living our lives in a certain way. And for the longest time, I thought that I needed to find balance. This was a big thing, especially in my mid to late 20s, when I was overworking, right? And that workaholism was at its peak, and I was working too much, trying to balance the plastic surgery residency and trying to balance building 2 businesses and then trying to start a third. Just like stupid delusional stuff that you can't just be more productive to do all those things. It's just like not humanly possible to build 3 businesses and be in a surgical residency. But I felt like I needed to find this work-life balance. And then someone told me it's not work-life balance, it's work-life harmony, because it's going to change and ebb and flow over the years. And that was a step in the right direction. But what I've been told by multiple different people in my life since then is that I'm an intense person. And I think it's so hard for us to be objective with ourselves. And I think me saying that, some of you watching are gonna be like,
well, yeah, duh, obviously.
But to me, that was news, right? That was news in my late 20s or early 30s when I was doing more like personal development and getting feedback from people and stuff like that. And I always had some level of judgment about it because I was working too hard, and the intensity just like wasn't necessary. And people would say, hey, like, why are you so strict on your exercise and so strict on your diet and so strict on your work ethic, and just like relax a little bit. And it just wasn't me, right? So I would try to I remember when I actually left residency, because I was doing the businesses and residency and not sleeping much, 3-4 hours a night on average. Sometimes you're doing all night when you have that 36-hour shift, right? I felt like what I got to do now is just chill and relax and recover. So I spent like 2 weeks. Actually, yeah, I think I set out to do 2 weeks, but I couldn't. I think I did like 10 days of let me just relax and recover and sleep a lot and exercise and just chill and don't work too much. And you know what? I felt like shit, man. I felt so rudderless and so just the days, I'm just like waiting for the days to pass, and I felt restless, and it wasn't good. So then one day, again, like roughly 10 days or 9 days into this experiment, I created a very regimented schedule. And I was like, I'm gonna wake up every day, 7 o'clock, I'm gonna cycle to the gym, 8 o'clock, get my workout in, get back by 10, and start my first work block, take a lunch break, and then, do my admin block, because in the afternoons I normally get a little bit of a slump. And I've talked about how you should match your work to your energy state. So in the mornings, a lot of us are very focused, do your hard work then. And then in the evenings, more creative work. So like everything was just now a schedule. And then just like that, I felt so much better. And I think as humans, we want control, we want order, we want something that's predictable and known. I mean, I stuck to the schedule maybe for a couple of weeks. And then after that, I was like, well, I don't need to be so rigid. And I know kind of what I want to do. I want to do X kind of work in the morning. I want to wake up around this time. I want to do other kinds of work in the afternoon. So there was some leeway, but having that loose structure made me feel so much better. And it made me feel so much more excited and energized, hopeful. Like I was making momentum. And this is when I was building Med School Insiders. So I was working actually longer hours than I did for residency alone. So in residency, I was doing the businesses and plastic surgery residency. So I was sleeping not very much. But at this time, I was spending more than the 80 hours I was doing in the hospital. So in most surgical residencies, you're averaging roughly 80 hours per week. I was doing more than that, but I felt like I had more energy. I guess I was wasting less time commuting because I was working from home. I was being very intentional with how I was using each of my time blocks, and I wasn't forced to do some, bureaucratic, administrative, whatever scut work. It was really stuff that was moving the needle. And I told myself, okay, this is just a season, but eventually I got to get back to this work-life balance. And I've had these ebbs and flows over the years. And the thing that came up today was I have been happiest when I'm actually fully embracing that intensity. I think that for myself, I get the greatest satisfaction when I just go all in on the intensity and I approach both work and my personal life with that intensity. So everyone's going to be different. So just like with height, I think your genetics are going to give you a set range. So no matter what I did as a kid or what I ate or what exercises, I was never going to be 7 foot tall. But I'd probably be between 5'10" and 6'3" or something based on environment, the food I'm eating, exercise, things like that, how all that can influence your growth hormones and your, growth plates and yada, yada, yada. So I think similarly, we all have a set range for our, work-life balance or harmony or whatever we're calling it. And for me, I'm definitely more on the side of I want to approach life with greater intensity and vigor, moment to moment, because I feel then like this limited, finite time that I have on this planet, I'm making the most out of that time. So I want to work really hard, and then when I go do fun stuff, I want to travel really intensely. I don't want to just sit on the couch and watch a lot of movies for a full week. I want to go travel to Switzerland and Italy and Japan and experience new rich cultures. So, by the way, Golden Monkey, Tea Bloom, check it out, link below if you guys want. This is actually really good. I normally like oolongs a lot more than black, so this is really good black. So the reason this came up over the weekend is that I had a really busy Saturday, hanging out with Mike and Maddie, doing the podcast, rushing to the hotel, going to sleep, next day, full day of car reviews, and not much downtime. So, actually no downtime at all. And my buddy Fenton from the Zygreen channel, he and I do a lot of car reviews together, and we do a lot of these trips together. And he was making a comment like, damn, dude, like, always grinding, the hustle is real. And it got me thinking like, yeah, I guess so. Because I think for many people, and for him, like, he was going down to SoCal, attending a wedding, and taking a couple days off from work, and then on Sunday we were both doing reviews. But for me, I'm like, I'm working until Friday night, Saturday, go, doing podcasts, doing other stuff that, is still business related, and then Sunday as well, and then back to the grind on Monday. And I think what actually happens is that two things. So if you are working on something whereby you feel like you have momentum and positive progress, that alone is going to energize you. And number two, if you're doing things for yourself, right? Like I am working on my business for myself. I'm working on the car channel for myself. By the way, check it out at Jabal and Cars on YouTube and Instagram. It energizes you in a way where putting in the same amount of work hours and effort into a different job that you may not agree with all the things. Like I remember when I was in high school, I was a library aide, and it was a grind, man, because I had to, organize books and do whatever, which was totally fine. But then what started getting on my nerves was all these rules. So if a patron comes to me and asks me where to find a book and I can totally guide them, I was told to stop doing that. You have to always guide them to the librarian's desk, even if you know the answer. I was like, okay. So then I would start listening to music with like one earphone in. And then they told me I can't do that. I'm like, well, I'm not even having to interact with these people. And anyways, like small stuff like that bugged me. And I remember, even though I wasn't putting that many hours per week, it was always a real big chore. And now I'm putting in way more hours, and it's much more energizing. So the reason I've also even been doing this gratitude practice is because it's so easy for us to just look at what we lack rather than what we have. We tend to take things for granted. I was just thinking that, like, dude, here I am focused on my goals and where I want to be and how I'm not there yet and how I got to push harder and I got to optimize this and push harder there. And then I was like, dude, I went on this podcast with Mike and Maddie, and just being able to connect with other YouTubers in the space, and they've been watching the channels for a while, and we had a great conversation. That's pretty cool, man. I think that me 5-10 years ago would be pretty hyped for that, but now it's normal Like, what is that? The car channel does not make any money yet. It makes some revenue, but paying the editors and the producer and the social media person is greater than the revenue brings it. So I'm losing money, but even though I'm bankrolling it, we're slowly gaining ground, and I'm like, that's my goal. I want to like at least break even on this business. But then I'm also like, well, I don't have to focus so much on the business side of it. Like, here I am, here's my buddy who got a Carrera GT, a nearly $2 million hypercar or supercar, and it's just absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy for him. I actually met him at a racetrack because just by chance, I was assigned as his instructor. And then he, as a student, I don't show my face on the car channel. It's all POV. So the camera's, by my forehead. So I guess he recognized my voice or something. He's like, wait a second, aren't you Jabal in Cars? And this is the first time meeting him. And I learned that he actually watches the channel. And just by chance, we got assigned student and instructor. I instructed him at Button Willow. I reviewed his Integra DC2 Type R on the racetrack. Awesome experience. And then he recently bought a Carrera GT. And super exciting stuff. And he's like, Kevin, come drive it. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, please. Because Carrera GT, Lexus LFA, and McLaren F1 like the three goats in my mind. And I was like, dude, I want to so bad. But like the responsible thing to do is I take the business very seriously, as I think I should. And I'm like, you know what? I need to increase my policy limits because my business insurance is like $1 million, but your car's worth nearly $2 million. So I gotta, let me first change that and then I'll come back to you. But he took me out on a drive and it was an awesome experience. And I'm like journaling this morning thinking, how lucky am I to even ride in a Carrera GT? I remember seeing them at the Moscone Auto Show way back in the day. I was like in high school in San Francisco and they had it on display, and wow, Carrera GT, such an incredible car. But to actually ride in one as passenger and then someday drive it, that's pretty nuts, man. Like, how am I so focused on what I'm lacking rather than what I actually have? So anyways, the two main things that came up for me this morning was, number one, don't be afraid to grind it out and have your own version of work-life balance. And then number two, the gratitude. And I think those two actually come together because it must have been like my early 30s. I'm now almost 35. And I think when I was 31, 32, I was kind of in like a funk. I later realized that it was because it's just kind of exhausting being single in Las Vegas because you can date here, but in Vegas, it's like you're here for a good time, not a long time. And I was like, dude, I just want something of substance and I want a partner. And I wasn't finding that. And I was like, oh, I think I need to have more work-life balance and do more hobbies. And I was kind of like trying to force it, trying to do more activities, meet new people, go out for dinner on weekdays, which like I just don't do anymore. I do not do dinner on weekdays. I want to wake up, grind, and in the evenings, have a quick meal by myself or with my partner, get on the sim rig if I have time, and then go to sleep and repeat the next day. And then the weekends is when I can socialize. And that's just my way of doing things. It doesn't have to be your way of doing things, but just experiment with what works for you and don't feel like other people telling you have to be more balanced or you need to work less or don't be so hard on yourself. Try it on for size, see if it feels good. And if it doesn't, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I wish someone had told me that when I was younger because I kept trying to do the whole work-life balance and force this thing that didn't feel right, but I thought I was supposed to, I should do it. And I realized, no, I don't want to. I'm actually a lot happier this way.
Yeah, a lot happier. Man, this is really good tea.
So anyways, my friends, hope that helps at least one of you. Much love. See you in the next one.